we are inching closer to Halloween time at Disneyland Resort, and costumes are always a big topic of discussion. Now, with today's guest, Tucker Bowman from Toy Story Dad, if you don't know him, you will definitely know some of his iconic costume creations that he features on his Instagram account.
You're listening to Castle Talk Radio. We're live on the airwaves with Becca and Jessica. Now let's jump into this week's episode.
Tucker, you have been featured so many places. Let's throw out some of those big names that people might have seen your creations on.
Yeah, we've been on obviously some Disney accounts like Disney Junior, Disney Parks. We've been in a couple of Disney commercials. Our Toy Story Slinky Dog costume was featured in the Toy Story 4 commercial, which was super cool. You might see us in some upcoming, I guess it'll be maybe in the past D23 commercials for sure. And then obviously like People Magazine, USA Today, all the major
obviously.
like viral things. Yeah, no big deal.
Yes, he said, obviously, People Magazine, of course, because that is how big these sensations are. And, it just comes out so easily and humbly for Tucker. But you guys, you didn't miss here. Those places and things that the costumes that they've created featured on major news publications, major social media channels. And the one that we're talking about is that Slinky Dog costume. I mean, I think that was the one that just went to town, and it's so adorable. Features two littles as the front and the back, and they're connected. And oh
I
my
have
gosh,
to tell
it's
you,
so cute.
it is super cute, but I'm a twin parent, so every year still I get sent that every year by people. I'm like, yes, I know that's Tucker's. I know Tucker, we're friends. And it's just like every year it pops back up in my feed and people sending me that specific costume saying, oh, you should have done this with your twins. I'm like, I'm not as creative as Tucker is.
And that one was not a set of twins, but that's always a question I know people ask you. What was it, a cousin?
Yeah, so it's my oldest, and then he has a cousin that's about the same age. So
And they were just the perfect size for
Yeah,
that. And I'm
perfect.
sure people ask you to recreate that all the time. Like if you can get the right ages of people, or, maybe you and your wife want to do that on, I don't know, when an age limit on these things.
Yeah. They do have
Oh,
an adult costume though that one of the companies makes,
Love it.
officially licensed by Disney. Start of the chin.
Absolutely. That is Tucker at Toy Story Dad is a trendsetter. And being so close to Halloween, we wanted to bring him on and talk about some of the costumes. But one of the things that I love about the costumes is so many of them fall everyone, and they're actual things that you can put together and make at home. So today we're going to talk about some of our favorites and maybe how you can pull these together in time for a costume event, a Halloween party, or even a Oogie Boogie Bash. So in the past, Tucker, you have done like a new costume every day in October. And I'm guessing this October you're going to feature some of those previous costumes because these things don't go out of style. They're just really amazing. So what are some of the things we can look forward to seeing on your channel coming up Halloween season? Like some of the old favorites.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's been so many. I think one of my favorites from last year, we did the Fairy Godmother and Prince Charming from Shrek too. And to be honest, like I was super hesitant about it, and Rachel, my wife, was like, "Gotta do it! Like Shrek is so iconic." But I just like wasn't sure people were gonna get it because it's like there's Fairy Godmother, Prince Charming, and like the Disney World as well. But Fairy Godmother and Prince Charming and Shrek have a little bit different look to them. And sure enough, people loved it. Like I loved how it turned out. It was super cute. We also did Harry Potter week last year. And I think we did it the year prior to that as well. I can't remember if we were able to pull off like a whole week worth of costumes that were dedicated to like Harry Potter villains. And like Professor Umbridge was super iconic. We even did like Birdie Bot's every flavored beans because, no one likes getting those flavors. They're definitely a villain. in that series. So it's fun to like think outside of the box, right? Like a lot of people, they just think of like Harry Potter and it's like, oh, we got Harry Potter, Hermione, Draco, like the classic characters, but it's fun to like recreate objects. Maybe some of those things that you wouldn't think of would be a costume, uh, like these inanimate objects, like a frying pan from Rapunzel. Like it's an iconic part of the movie, but no one would think, let's dress up as a frying pan from Tangled. So that's what we like specialize is thinking what could be a costume from a movie that might not be a normal costume you could buy at the store.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I've noticed from you guys, especially in the group costumes, because, maybe you think like, okay, we got Snow White, we got seven dwarfs, that's perfect for our 8 people. But what if we have a huge group that's going and we want to dress up 15 people? And so you pull out those objects and you just really start thinking and stretching. And then you're able to pull off something that's so cool. Um, One of the ones that you did, like you said, the frying pan, Rapunzel, was that the same group costume with the lanterns as well?
Yeah, the lanterns, those were so cool, especially at night. Like that's one of the other elements too that we try to add, especially when we go to Disneyland, is the parties like goes into the nighttime hours and starts getting dark, and then when you can have the costumes light up, it's like so magical. Like that's why we love doing it so much. Is it's like sun goes down, you turn on the lights, and like you just get the goosebumps because you're like, look at these things we created. They're glowing. People are freaking out, and it's just Disney magic, to say the least.
That makes me excited because I really need to get on my costume game for Oogie Boogie Bash. And with like lanterns and stuff, it doesn't limit you. If you have 5 people that want to come and be a lantern, or you have 10, you can make that and expand it to your whole group, which is super, super fun. And like Tucker was saying, his fandom isn't just limited to Disney. So you're going to find all those favorites and the things that you love, Harry Potter. And haven't you done like some Nickelodeon characters and different things? I mean, there's just so many. You're going to find so many costumes on his Instagram, and then be able to just get your mind working in a different way.
Yeah, sure. I think some of our favorites, especially like we've been doing this for like we started our Instagram 7 years ago, but I think we've done Parents Happy Haunts for 5 years. So that's 5 years times 30 costumes at least. Sometimes there's more. So we're talking like 150 villains. So we've started getting to the point where like we've had like some obscure things, and that's where like the objects come in. But yeah, we've done like maybe not who you would think of a villain, but like Dwight from The Office, who is kind of like a protagonist, and Toby from The Office as well. Like just some of the characters that drive you crazy if you might be a villain in your eyes. Um, it's fun to kind of think outside the box and well, some of these not so common villains that you would think of.
But still highly recognizable. I mean, who
Yeah,
doesn't
for
want to
sure.
see a little kid dressed as Dwight from The Office? It's so cute and so hilarious. So give me some of your, let's see, we talked about popular costumes, but what about your best group costumes over the year? We mentioned Rapunzel. What are some of other favorites of yours that you've enjoyed putting together and wearing around?
Yeah. It's obviously Toy Story. That was our first year that we did the party. That was actually when I was over at Disneyland, the Mickey's. I don't even remember what it's called. Not so scary Halloween party, something like that. Um, we had everyone in the Toy Story group there, and that's where the Slinky Dog costume took off. And that's also where we decided it would be somewhat of a tradition to have a connecting costume um, every year, and we've stuck to that.
Wow.
We've had like when we did Tangled, like we had the frying pan, and our connecting costume was actually the hair. So we had Rapunzel, which was my niece, and then my daughter, who was probably 2 at the time, just barely walking, was actually part of Rapunzel's hair. So they connected together. Rapunzel had her normal wig, and then she was like the extension to make her hair even longer, and it all lit up. There's flowers, super fun. And then we had Cinderella, where the connecting costume was the carriage. And
That was my favorite, watching you turn from a pumpkin to a carriage,
yeah,
Tucker.
we also decided to introduce some element of transformation. Like, that's where it just gets crazy over here. With the pumpkin that transformed into the carriage, and then the carriage attached to the horse, obviously. That was super fun. And then last year we did Pixar's Up, which was another fun one. Super magical. I was a balloon along with some of my brother-in-laws, and we all lit up and we were attached to the house. We had like the house that was recreated and ended up looking super good, that lit up like little Christmas lights and a lot of
Oh
fun
my
things.
gosh, so creative. Like, I never would have thought of doing like that as a big group costume. Like, we've done Up before when my oldest was little, and he was um Carl, and then my husband was Russell. But I wouldn't think about, like, you take a large group because you take your extended family. And so I would never think about doing like the balloons and everything. That's amazing.
Yeah, we even had the little chocolate bar that Kevin eat from Russell. So
So
someone thought he
perfect.
was dressed up as a crayon box, but I was like, chocolate bar.
That is so great. Now, I have to share some of my favorite costumes of yours. Um, my top favorite has to be, and this is not from a fandom. This is a fandom of its own. This is the pink chair. So, you guys, this Tugger's Instagram features his kids, and they're so much fun and they're so adorable. And they're doing all these cool costumes, but one year, what does his daughter want to be? A pink chair. And I laughed so hard and showed it to so many people because not only does she want to be a pink chair, the parents embraced that and they were like, absolutely, you're going to be a pink chair. And they made the cutest, best pink chair costume ever. And the video is so cute because it shows over time asking, what do you want to be for Halloween? And she consistently says, a pink chair. So she has these masterful minds of Tucker and his wife who create and put together these amazing costumes. And she just wants to take a seat, have a pink chair. It was so cute. I love that you guys did that.
Yeah, that's super fun. Never know. You always think they're going to change their minds. So we kept asking, but she was persistent till the end. We essentially ended up creating that, like, I think Halloween day because we were convinced she was going to change her mind, but
Mm-hmm.
she was convinced. So
And
she
she
wanted.
was just as happy as can
Yeah.
be. She was just so adorable and cute and happy to be exactly what she wanted. Another one of my favorites is Sebastian and the chef from The Little Mermaid, because you can put together some really great sibling costumes. And that is just like the epitome of sibling rivalry. I don't think they had that quite with the baby yet, but maybe the baby was Sebastian. That was so cute.
That was a fun one for sure.
Becca, did you
So
have any favorites that you wanted to toss in the
I
ring?
think they've been mentioned. My favorite was The Office, personally, because I'm an off. I love The Office. But man, there's so many to think of. Was it Hades, or did you guys do? Didn't you guys do the sidekicks of Hades? And you even redid the whole scene with the juice box for Pain and Panic. I loved that one. So there's just so many, and you guys amaze me every year. And I think it's time you guys like do a instead of hams, happy hunt. I always get tongue twisted on that. I think it's time to do like our throwback year and like do the best of. You should let people vote and have rewards for the best ones. That's what I think you should do.
That'd be a fun idea.
So, as we get into Halloween time, some people are scrolling through probably your Instagram right now as they're listening to the podcast, going, how do these even come together? I'm not that talented. That's me, guys. But the lights you already mentioned, that's something that I can do. I feel like I can make something like that happen on some kind of costume. But what are some other tips and tricks that you have to just putting costumes together in general so that when somebody does have an idea, they feel like it's actually doable?
Yeah. for sure. So, uh, hot glue and fill. First of all, that's what a lot of shoes are made out of. Um, because like when we first started, like my wife didn't know how to sew at all. Like she'd never really sewn other than like the high school, whatever that class was called, where you learned home skills. Like sewing was not a thing that either of us were good at. So just like hot gluing stuff together. One like big tip is like use clothing as the base. So when we, not our first year, but our second year, third year, Camp Heavy Hans was actually like sponsored by a clothing company that just made us plain clothing. So like just like solid brown shirt, solid black pants, like everything was just uh solid colors. So that was perfect for the base of costumes, right? Because like you have to make a shirt and then add to it. Like you have to know how to sew a shirt, right? But if you can go buy a shirt at a thrift store, that's another tip is check out the thrift store. Like there's all sorts of random things there that are perfect for recreating costumes, right? And you can do it on the cheap because you're getting those deals. And there's like really, like I said already, like obscure things, like obscure pattern fabrics that you might need to recreate some things. So like start with a base of clothing, whether that's like something you order on Amazon or something you just get at a thrift store. You can then just like add little things to it, right? Like use baseball caps as the base of your hat and then just add like some felt on it and then you have a cool looking hat. So like think of ways that you can use the work of other people to get what you need. So
Yeah, simplify the process. I'm all for hot glue guns. I have also been known to use a stapler for a seam or two because you're like, oh, there's a
nice.
little hole. That is gonna do just fine. Not a sewer either. So I feel like this has given me some ideas of some things that I can do. Just need to get that like theme down, figure out what I want to do. Like one of my ultimate like costumes would be like to have like a full on professionally made thing and like go all out as one of the ugly stepsisters or Cruella. So that's not going to be this year, maybe another year, but I do love putting together things, especially simple and easy to go on the rides. So I do have to ask,
So
you guys ride anything when you're at Oogie Boogie Bash?
we do. Not a ton. Obviously, we're there like for the costumes a lot of the times, but I mean, our little family would go to Disneyland a lot. Some of our extended family, not as much, so they're definitely trying to get as many rides done. We try to make the costumes like obviously last year we had people dressed up as chairs in a house, but we make it super easy to slide off and on.
Okay.
So you might just see some random chairs or houses on the sidelines next to the strollers. Outside of like Little Mermaid or something, because we're all on the ride. But yeah,
Okay, so
definitely.
that's like another great tip is to kind of make it adaptable so that you can like tone it down, especially like maybe once your kids are falling asleep in the strollers, you don't necessarily want them to have like something huge and like uncomfortable on. So they have that base that you talked about, and then you just add to that.
Oh my gosh, you've given us so much to think about, Tucker, and I can't wait to see this year's. By the time this airs, it will already be live, so everyone can go check out this year's group costume that you wore to Oogie Boogie Bash. And thank you again for joining us. Make sure you follow Tucker at Toy Story Dad on Instagram, and we'll see you real soon.